Hello there, this is Ron Wills coming back at you again with yet another video. Today, I'm going to talk about how ugly men are getting sex. Yeah, it's interesting because this question has been popping up in my comments lately, and it's always been a general thing. You have guys who are, you know, most people think they're handsome, they're clean cut, got stuff going on, and yet this ugly dude this ugly dude, like, he got women like crazy, like lined up and everything. Dude be looking like a troll and whatnot and stuff. And women, shoot, they be getting up in the middle of the night to go see him. And, it's not the same as what I was saying about, I did a video on, like, the real reason women choose losers. These guys aren't necessarily losers, and they might not necessarily have money either. See, the very first video I did on YouTube back in July 2014 was called Trumping Looks, Money, and Status. And basically, I said the thing that trumps all of that is sex appeal. See, what the ugly man has, and this ain't all ugly men, of course, but what the ugly man, when you see an ugly man and he's getting all the play, women going crazy over him, he got sex appeal. Now, see, here's the thing, and here's a mistake that men make. Many men make one mistake, not really understanding sex appeal. See, a person can look good in two ways. They can look good in what I would call a classic way, like they clean cut, they have good facial features, good body, and basically, they're pleasant to look at. But there might be something missing. See, a person can have all those things and they could be good looking in a conventional sense. But sex appeal is something different. Sex appeal, believe it or not, is not a physical thing. See, a lot of dudes make the mistake of thinking, if you automatically good looking, you're automatically sexy to women. You're not. I'm gonna just tell you that. Like, a woman, she can look at a guy, say he's good looking, she'll look him in the eye, be dead serious with him, say he's handsome, and still she don't feel any vagina tingles. It don't mean anything wrong with her, but he's not turning her on sexually. Now, any woman hearing this understands exactly what I'm saying. And see, I know what's up because I've sat and listened to some women and they would be going crazy. I've seen women go crazy over certain guys. And they'd be like, oh, he's gorgeous, he's this and that. And, as a heterosexual male, it's hard to judge another man. But at the same time, sometimes you look at somebody, you like him. Because, we think we know what a woman's looking at. But see, for the woman, that dude, shoot, that dude is sexy. Now, for a man to understand that, let's turn this around because it's really the same principle. At least, how women have explained it to me over the years. So let's turn this around. Fellas, I want y'all to think about two women, right? You got one who's real beautiful, like, guys, she got, like, the facial features, skin complexion, hair, body type that you like. So she got everything that you like, right? But there's something missing. For whatever reason, she don't get your dick hard, right? That means that woman lacks sex appeal. She lacks something within her to really touch a man sexually. See, let me get deep in a way. Sex is more of an energy than a look. It's a feeling. Like, women are really attuned to that feeling, and some players can be attuned to that feeling too. Because it's more or less, for a woman, it's not, even though looks are important to her, and she can get off on a man's looks, it has to be a sexy look to her. Someone who looks sexy to her. or to put it in more coarser terms, dude have to look like he can fuck. And in women's eyes, all men don't look like that. But getting back to that example, fellas, think about that woman that you see, and she looks good, she got all that, but some you got turned on by her. I mean, many men will still go out with her because you know they, she looked good to him and all of that, but he might not feel anything. And one of the things with us is we can tend to have sex with whoever. So if she real pretty, hey, that's a very good whoever. But a man might not get that deep feeling where his shit, gonna be hard enough to like break a window or something. Now, contrast her. Now, say there's a second woman in the picture. Now, she don't look as good as the first one. She might be a little overweight, face a bit plainer, but she got shoes. She got you popping shoes. You take one look at her and you about to bust nut. Like I remember back in the day, I remember I saw this woman walking around in downtown D.C. She was sexy as shit. I mean, even a gay man picked up on it and shit, right? I was like, damn. Like that dude is a vendor who was in downtown D.C. and dude was gay. He was cool, but he was gay, and he picked up on it because we were both talking about her. Now if a heterosexual dude and a gay dude talking about a woman, she gotta be fine as shit. But the thing was, if you take one look at her, she really, I mean, on that strict sense of having a tight body and tight face and all of that, she really wasn't, but she was sexy as hell. The thing that made her sexy, and most men understand what I'm about to say. It was how she walked around, how she carried herself. It was, how she wore her clothes on her. Because I remember last time I saw her, and I can't remember her name to save my life, but this was back in the day. Last time I saw her, she had on kind of like one of those skirt type of suits or something, and it was red. And I mean, she had the stockings right, blouse was right, everything was right with it. Now, she probably could have stood to lose maybe about good, I'd say 10 to 15 pounds. So, her body wasn't that tight. And she didn't have like that model type face, or, that face people consider like, beautiful. But she was cute. In fact, if she wore sweats or something, she probably wouldn't be considered, sexy at all. But the way she carried herself, everything made her sexy. Now, a lot of guys know what I'm talking about. Like, you get some women, they might not have that body type you like, but they're sexy. Like, and I think I used this example somewhere. Like I said, I got about 3 or 4 platforms and stuff, so sometimes I don't remember where I said what. But, I remember, I don't know. Like I always say, bear with me if you heard it. I remember I had to pick my son up from school one time. And there was this young woman, obviously, she was there to pick up her daughter. And, me, I'm the loafer brother, right? I like that thick, fat ass, right? She ain't had none of that. She was quite slim. I remember she had a baseball cap on, her hair was covered, and she had on sweats. You couldn't see any part of the body. Yet, probably one of the sexiest women I ever seen, just in how she carried herself and how she walked and all of that stuff, right? So I think men understand that. That's the same thing with women, but magnified. Understand a woman's nature is to feel. She is sensuous. In fact, to be honest with you, their sex drive blows ours away. Their sex drive and what they can feel. I mean, you can rub a woman in the crease of her elbow and get her off if she's attuned enough. And usually, and this could be a video, I might have to do one just for the women. Most women, if they don't have an orgasm, don't have nothing to do with a man. Like if a woman can't be turned on through literally every hole, and I do mean every hole, like you could rub her ear or something and she'd pop about 2 or 3 orgasms. If she's attuned. Most of them are sexually repressed. But if they're open, oh hell, they shoot. Their sex drive is off the chains. They can look at somebody. You can like walk in, dip your head towards them, and they're gonna go pop. All right. But anyway, it's an energetic thing. So just like a man can look at a woman who might not be like really physically all that, but sexy as hell. Shoot, it's the same thing. It's the same dynamic with women. I mean, and I've talked with some women, and they'll say, "Yeah, that dude overweight, but he's sexy," or they'll say he's sexy in his own way, or he's very sexy. And you looking at dude, and dude looking like Fred Flintstone or something. But women going crazy over him. And I've seen I've seen some badass women. Um, women of all races. They'll be with that one guy, and you like, why? And our first thought is men. Our first thought is men is to think, oh, he must have money, or he must have game, or she's using him. Nah, he's just sexy to her. Now, one of the things though, a lot of men don't develop that. And that's that's the main thing of my books. I'm telling you how to develop sex appeal. That's really it. That's why I don't give pickup lines and all of that. And that's a key component of game, but it's not taught a lot. This past week I was on Obsidian's radio show, and don't act like y'all don't know who Obsidian is. I was on his show with it was me, Obsidian, the master teacher, Black Gnostic Speaks, and we were talking about the four cornerstones of old school game. Now, I don't know. I might talk to BGS, and we do some maybe do a couple videos around that and really jump into it deep. But check out Obsidian's site, the Obsidian Radio Network, the blog talk, and download that. There was a hot conversation. Yeah, definitely get that. But one of the cornerstones is sex. And a woman, like a man, needs to give off that energy. And I'm using the term energy. It might sound esoteric or whatever, but it is. It's what a woman feels. Like a woman, when she's in that man's presence, she needs to feel like she needs to be almost overcome with his presence. She needs to feel a certain euphoria when she's around him. And notice I say it feel. And that feel doesn't have anything, really don't have much to do with his physical appearance. It's not what turns on. In fact, usually men who look real good, have money and everything, when women get with them, it's usually women got to kind of force it a bit if they ain't really feeling them. And it's more or less the dude look good on paper. What I call mass men. No, but when they around that man, when they can feel it, oh, it's on. That's why, I just did a video where I said I had put on weight and was still getting plenty of play. That's because women were still feeling me. Because I don't do anything to suppress my own sex drive. So I'm letting it flow. And see, that's part of the thing too. Many men are more sexually repressed than they realize. And that sexual repression comes from a bunch of factors. I ain't gonna say it's one factor. One of the biggest factors is organized religion. I mean, that's just how it is. Somebody, if they grow up in it, or if they got some type of feeling that sex outside of marriage is wrong, they would tend to be more repressed. They would tend to stifle it. But then you get some dudes, they didn't grow up in those environments, and they don't learn to really stifle their own sex drive. In fact, in extreme cases, they may not develop the idea that stifling their sex drive is necessary for civilized living. But see, what happens is when a woman get around that man, all he has to do is get in, once he get his foot in the door, he probably has to have a little bit of game, so she'll talk with him. If he's unappealing, physically unappealing, he probably had to do something to get her attention. But once he get in there and she's in his presence long enough, she'll feel it. Because here's something a lot of women will say. They'll say, he grew on me. Think about that term, he grew on me. And that happens with a lot of women. Like, women choose the men, and a lot of times Most of the time they choose initially off of just physical appearance, but sometimes if a man is in a position to get to know that woman, be around that woman, she'll change up. You know, like if they work on a job together or in some social organization together, as soon as she see it, you know, if he letting that energy flow, and he do got some other parts of game, which, like I said, y'all need to listen to that blog talk show. She'll slowly open up. She'll slowly open up because that energy's overtaking her, and after a while, if that energy overtake her, like whenever she's in his presence, she feels good. Listen to what I'm telling y'all now. I'm giving y'all some game. If she feels good in his presence, his looks don't matter as much. Seriously, his looks don't matter as much. In fact, he will start looking better to her. Yeah, like I said, I done gave y'all that game. I hope somebody pick up on it. So, you know, if the man ugly, that's why you see that thing. And it's not that dude had money. In fact, to be honest, a lot of times dude could be dead broke. Man, they have a pot to piss in. But because of how he makes her feel, he's always going to win. And that's the key. That's the key with men who don't have that same, you know, they facially challenged. He has to make her feel something. And that's what the ugly man does. He makes her feel it. You know, does it go with what society is teaching? No. You know, if she's worried about, you know, she one of those women worried about what other people think and how she look with somebody, oh, well, it'd probably be tougher. But when women feel a certain something from a man, that wins. In fact, and if he can really develop it, he can make her have an orgasm without even touching her. But that's a totally another video there. You know? But I'll just say this. If a man got that energy right, and see, he has to focus on just letting his sexuality flow, not trying to repress it. And like I said, I talk about all these things in my books. You know, because it's not just like a magic formula you can put or drink and all of a sudden it comes out. It's like different parts working in there together, and that's what I talk about. So that's it for now. You know, check it out. But next time you see, I put it like, let me even like this. Personally, if I see some dude and you know, like I say, it's hard to judge another man, but we all know what a gremlin look like. Every time I see some gremlin looking dude and a woman fine as shit, and she hanging all over him looking like, there's a certain, if she had that certain glow that women have when they having good sex, because there's a glow women have when they having good sex, I know dude putting it to her. Seriously, that's all I had to see is the couple. I was like, I'm looking for that glow in her. When I see that, I'm like, yeah, that was it. And that's always going to be it. You know, that's the great equalizer. That's in fact, that's the most important part of the game, in my opinion. Because it's all about, all right, you done got a phone number, you done went on a date, you got her back to her place. She's looking to be open the fuck up. And if a man can do that and get her addicted, shoot. Yeah, I don't care if he look like Quasimodo. Shoot, it don't matter. It don't matter. And that's, you know, that's just think about everything I'm saying. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.